Hello YouTube, hello, and we're back again. Of course we are. And today we're gonna be continuing our Mind Games series, and this is gonna be part 3, which most likely is gonna be the last part, but I'm not sure. But yeah, let's start. So, two things I want you guys to notice or remember, or in general you have to know, is that if you paid attention to my last two parts, you might have already noticed because you're smart. My viewers are all smart, obviously. So one thing to remember and know, mind games work for both of them, right? Both the attacker and the defender. Very important. That's why this is a game. You can either win or lose depending if you're a defender or an offender. So very important to notice this. Second thing, also very important, is that mind games, basically, on its simplest terms, is a game of prediction. You're predicting your opponent, and you're using these strats. For example, part 1 was about strings, right? You're using strings to make prediction easier for yourself as an attacker. And it's the same with the pushback, which is part 2. You're making it easier for yourself to predict the defender. And if you're the defender, you can use that fact, if you know it, obviously, and predict the attacker that way. That's what it is, on its simplest terms. Okay, two things important to realize. Now the third thing we're going to talk about is frames, because frames is also another easy way to predict your opponent. Example, let me just show you guys an example. When you do, let's say, a down forward 1 on Gaz, or any move that's +9 like Kazuya is here, you might predict as an attacker that the defender is not going to do anything. You're 2+, so they're not going to try anything. They might not even move. You're going to predict they're not going to move. So this +9 is basically a predictor and makes it easier for you to predict their actions. That's how you can use frames to predict their actions, and that's how mind games work. Now where's the mind game? So the mind game here is, when you're +9, you might be more comfortable to, let's say, do a hell sweep like this after +9, even though it's more of a slow move and it has risk, right? The hell sweep. You will be more comfortable doing this. So you're +9 and then you do a hell sweep or something slow. Let's say CD1 +2. So you're more comfortable doing slower moves in this frame situation as an attacker, right? Because you think and you're predicting that the opponent's going to respect your +9 because it's a lot of plus, and you can use your slower moves. But now let's imagine you're the defender here, right? If you're the defender here, and let's say you know the situation, you might predict that they're going to use a slower move. What are you gonna do? So let's say I'm the one getting hit by this situation. What am I gonna do? So there are a lot of stuff that you can do as well, depending on the situation. For example, in this particular situation, when you get hit the +9, you can still sidestep the hell sweep. So sidestepping is a good option. But what a lot of people will do instead is press a button. A button usually will be in the form of a generic down forward 2, a hop kick, an orbital, what we call a panic button, right? Or a good button in general to press for higher reward. The down forward 2 is a good example of Kazuya here. You can also use some other buttons like, I don't know, down forward 3, maybe a delayed hop kick if you feel like it. So this is what constitutes the frame mind game. When the attacker is predicting that the defender is not going to do anything, and the defender might be predicting that the attacker will try to do something slow. So this is why the +9 mind game here is for the attacker to sometimes not do anything. Because if the defender just presses a button, let's say a down forward 2, I will get counter hit. So I'm playing it safe, even though I'm +9. I'm not using my frames per se, right? There are different ways to use your frames. Like, for example, you can also down back 4 here, you can also forward 4 here. But the previous example is just an example, right? So this is what we will call a mind game when it comes to +9. Different kind of frames also have different kind of mind games, mind you. And also one of the most important things in frame mind games are checks. So let's talk about checks. Checks are moves that you do for you to check your opponent for them not to retaliate. Let's say after this, the opponent's gonna press a button like I did here, right? He's just gonna press a down forward 2. I did this, but you can't hell sweep. It's a slow move. So instead of that hell sweep, as an attacker, what you're gonna do is check your opponent with, let's say, a down forward 2 with, let's say, an electric, right? Which I can't do, but yeah, let's say an electric. So you're gonna check your opponent here to stop them from retaliating. This is what you would call a check. And the check, the better the check is, the better the mind game situation is as well. So if you have good checks, your mind games is also stronger. Down forward 2 is the best example I can give for Gaz right here. Now, let's talk about checks in a different type of frame situation. after, let's say, a +4, after down back 4 or forward 4, both of them are +4. On block, +4, this +7 on hit. So down back 4, let's talk about down back 4. So down back 4 is +4. So that +4 situation also induces a mind game. Any kind of frame situation can induce a mind game, but the situation can be different. You guys can understand that +9 is not the same as a +2 mind game. Pretty easy to understand that. But +4, this situation, you have a down forward 2 as a check, right? I already explained checks. This is a check. So if they try to press something, let's just showcase it. If I do something like this and I try to press anything, I will get counter hit. So this is a check. Now, I also discussed a better check is, the better the mind game. How can you really understand how good a check is? This is when you evaluate the check's risk and reward. This is also very important to realize when it comes to using these kind of mind games. So the risk and reward of this is that it's punishable on block. That's the risk. There you go, one risk. Another risk, you can avoid it by doing a power crush. If you have rage, you can also rage guard it. Another thing is that you can also do a heat burst, which is also a power crush. Another one is that you can parry it, right? It's parryable. And for some characters, if you play against Asuka, this might be a very, very big risk if they launch you for it, right? But the good thing, so this is the bad things, this is the risk of it, more or less. Also, the risk increases depending on the situation the character go up against, because this risk right here, when I punish with back 1-2, if you play against the Nina, they will be doing a heat engager on you, 11 frame heat engager. If you play against the Lee, 11 frame heat engager. So it depends. Some of them will also wall splat you, some of them will not wall splat you or mix you up instantly after 10 frame punish. Risk is different based on character. But this is generally how you manage, not manage, but understand the risk of a move. How about the reward? The reward, or how much coverage it has, let's say, is that you cannot sidestep this. It's a homing move, right? You can't press because it checks you correctly. Any other move other than power crush, obviously, because I already discussed the power crush. And its reward on a counter hit, it's pretty good. The reward on normal hit isn't that good though. So only +5, kind of do the same situation again, right? You have the same situation. +4 mind game, +5 mind game, not much difference. So yeah, this is basically how you understand the risk plus reward of a move. And the better it is, like the safer something is, obviously the better. For example, if this was backdashable, this situation, this would be worse because now this would become a launch punishable move. Because if you can backdash it, let's say from very far away, maybe I can backdash it. Imagine it was on hit, right? Because it's hard to backdash with Kaz. If you play in a character like a Lisa or Zafina or someone with a good backdash, you'll be able to backdash it easier. So yeah, this is how you evaluate risk and reward. Now, why are checks so important? They're important because the better the check is, the scarier the defender is gonna be to actually do something about it. If the check is not that scary, they will do something afterwards. For example, they'll try to sidestep, let's say, because this is not scary on normal hit. If it would be scary on normal hit, they wouldn't even try to sidestep. They wouldn't even try to press a button, let's say. I mean, pressing a button is scary because counter hit is so good, but moving is not that scary, right? This is how it works. If this check was a little bit different, they would be more scared and their options would be more predictable. That's why I emphasized predictability at the start. It's very, very important. And when you're the offensive side and you're doing something like this, which is a check, you can also predict that your opponent's going to respect your down forward too. You can predict this. And if you predict this, you can either continue your offense, play more defensive, just wait for them to do anything, or you can just predict their sidestep specifically, do something, an anti-sidestep move. Let's say you do something like back 4, or as I said, down forward 2 also covers that. But yeah, the hit property, it's really not that risky. Even if you get hit by this, it's nothing too much. Damage is fine, but yeah, it's nothing too much. So this is how it works. The better a check is, the better the mind game. Other checks for us is something like back 2 or down forward 4. If you want to play it safer, but they don't have much reward with either hit or counter hit. So yeah, his frame mind games, by the way, is not bad. I'll explain this a little bit later. But if you, this is the simplest way I can explain it. Hopefully it wasn't too complicated. It's not really that easy, but hopefully it wasn't too complicated. This is how frame mind games work. You basically predict as a defender and predict as an attacker in these particular situations. I showcased plus frame situations, but this is in the perspective of the attacker, right? So in the perspective of the defender, it's a minus frame situation. It works exactly the same way if you're an attacker and you're minus. Let's say you do something that's minus, but you're the attacker. It works exactly the same way, but imagine yourself being in the position of the defender. It's just how it is. This is exactly how it is, and this is how it works. And as I said, the checks are the most important things here. Okay, so this is the third one, frames. But now let's showcase each and every single one of these mind games with a very, very good example. A good example of this is a character that we all love, Anna. Now, Anna is a very strong character as of now, which is still Season 2. And the reason why, let me just showcase one of the reasons, right? I'm gonna put an example with all three mind games I already talked about. So a string mind game, pushback mind game, and the frame mind game in one sequence. So let me just show this. So down forward 1-2, this move has a string mind game attached to it because it has a 4 and it has a 3. So you can't duck it because of the mid. If you duck the high, you will get a reward, but the mid exists. So if you want to stay safe, you do nothing. You can't sidestep this either because this will catch you. So string mind game, you can't really do anything, so you're just standing there doing nothing. Now, what are they gonna do? They also have an option to do a stance cancel after it and do this plus frame move. So if you're doing nothing, not even stepping, they're gonna continue pressuring you with this plus frame move. So one, string mind game, I already demonstrated how to use it, right? Second, this is the start of a frame mind game, +6 situation if you notice the frames, right? And I also explained that a good mind game has a great check. Now, what is the check here for Anna? Obviously, if you're not doing anything here, she's gonna continue pressuring you forever. But what's the check? What should you be afraid of here? To be fair, there's a lot of stuff to be afraid of, but the biggest one I'm gonna tell you is this move right here. After this, down back 2. This is very common. Now, what makes this check very strong? So let me just put the sequence here, right? Put the sequence. So I already demonstrated string mind games, right? String mind games with down forward 1-2 because of the follow-ups. I demonstrated plus frame mind games because of the +6. So let me just discuss the check now. The check here, as you guys can notice, is safe. That is safe, right? It's -9. You can't punish this, so there's no risk of punishment, unlike Azur's down forward 2. Now let's do something different. Let's try to sidestep. I tried to sidestep, and it works. Okay, sidestep. This side works. So I'm gonna be forced to sidestep this side every time I block that. Let's say, right? So sidestep one side works. Let's try to sidestep other side. It won't work. So now we understand the risk of this move is to sidestep to one particular side. If we try to press, let's say, it still won't work. It just won't work because it's a frame trap. +6 into a 50 frame move if you notice the frames. So you're gonna be forced to sidestep like this if you want to punish this particular thing. Which, you know, it's a good situation because this becomes punishable. But there are a lot of situations also where when you block this, where this might not be as steppable. Some situations, right? Not all of them. But usually sidestep right will beat this. But a good thing about this, why this is so strong, is because this enforces more and more pressure. I already talked about this, right? That if you're not gonna do anything, and sidestep is also counted towards this, by the way, that if you're just sidestepping and waiting for, let's say, a whiff on this, you're gonna keep getting pressured in the same situation over and over again. Also, disclaimer, not everyone can sidestep this. This move sometimes into down back 2 can become more tracking. And down back 2, based on the frames, can also become better and better. Like, example, right? When this gets hit in a certain angle, sometimes down back 2 becomes way harder to sidestep. Way harder. You also, like this, for example, right? I can't sidestep it right now. After that down forward 1-2, this kind of situation can also happen, right? So sidestep right in that particular situation is good, but in some other situations, you might not be able to use that at all. Let me try it again. Right? Now I can't sidestep it. Maybe I messed up last time. I think I messed up last time. But yeah, this is not steppable. You cannot really step it most of the time. Sometimes, like last time, you can. I guess it depends. Maybe I messed up a button input. But the weakness of this move is sidestep right, and even then, that is sometimes. Right? Most of the situations is not that... It's not that, basically. It doesn't really happen like that. So you can see that the risk of this move is very, very minimal. Very minimal. Almost nothing. You can't even press against it. You can't sidestep against it. You can't backdash against it because it has a lot of range. So what can you do against it? So what you can do against it is punch parry it or power crush it. And depending on your character, if you have a good parry, power crushes are usually universal. Usually anyway. Maybe boss will deal a lot more damage than some other characters. But yeah, this is how it works. This is the risk of this move, which forces you to power crush. And if it forces you to power crush, the attacker can predict this very easily because you only have one option, which is a power crush or a parry, which can both of them can very easily be beaten. Very easily. So yeah, this is why this check is amazing. But I only discussed, as you most likely already noticed, I only discussed 2 mind games. Frame mind games, which I talked about today, and string mind games. What are the pushback mind games? And I'm sure some of you have already noticed that when you block this, there is slight pushback, especially if you backdash in the middle. So this slight pushback also can create a pushback mind game. If you backdash here, let's say I block this, and I backdash, the pushback is quite significant. That's a pretty decent pushback, right? So some moves, let's say a jab of Kaz won't reach. It just doesn't reach. Or a 2 jab, or a magic 4, or some other buttons. Back to will usually, or down forward 4 will reach, but some other buttons will not reach, which creates a mind game situation because of the pushback. So this sequence right here, what I just showcased, has 3 mind games in like a second. 1 second, it's 3 mind games. So you're not doing anything because of the string, you're trying to sidestep, you can't do it, you have to do nothing, and down back 2. It doesn't have much risk when it comes to block, because it's not punishable, it's not steppable, it's not backdashable, you have to power crush it, it has very minimal risk. Now let's talk about the block property, not block, the hit property. It does a 17 damage plus 8 situation, and you're in a mix-up, by the way. The mix-up is either a plus 23 low or a mid bazooka that's also a plus. I won't demonstrate it, but that's just how the stance works. And on counter hit, let me just demonstrate the counter property as well. It's that, with a guaranteed hit. I think it's 40 damage or something like that. So it's great move. With an amazing check that does almost everything for you, except for beating power crushes. That's the only thing it doesn't do for you. That's on you to just beat that one thing. So this is what constitutes an amazing mind game. A frame mind game. That's why good checks are so important. I just wanted to demonstrate this because Anna obviously is a very strong character, and this is one of the reasons she is such a very strong character. Okay, so yeah, let's conclude a little bit. But one thing I also want to mention is that characters have different strengths when it comes to these 3 different mind games. There are other mind games there as well, but I think the main ones are these 3, the 3 parts I just made. And so, as an example, another example, Kazuya for string mind games is okay-ish. So characters have different strengths. I already talked about when it comes to these mind games. Kazuya is okay-ish in the strings because of moves, let's say with down forward 3, because down forward 3-2, down forward 3-1, down forward 3-2-1, stuff like that, or back 2-4-1, or back 2-2 laser. There are some, right? It's okay-ish. It's not good, but it's okay-ish. Pushback mind games for Kaz is also okay-ish because of one thing. That one thing is his electric, because his electric on block has pushback, and nothing else has that much pushback. A forward 3 maybe, but it's not really. It's minus 13, it's punishable. Most people can actually punish this as well, but the biggest pushback move in general is an electric, which is what makes the pushback mind game of him okay-ish, because electric is so strong. But when it comes to frame mind games, it's actually good. It's decent. I actually like his frame mind games. For example, his forward 4, his down back 4, his CD1 plus 2 when he is plus, can work really well because Kazuya has what we call a neutral presence with his hell sweep. People are afraid of his hell sweep, so it's easier to predict than pressing or stepping. Either one of those, because they want to avoid the hell sweep somehow. Or, of course, ducking as well, but yeah. That's why his frame mind games I think are good. But as already mentioned, different characters have different strengths. But when it comes to Anna, she might have everything. Who knows, right? Because string mind games are good. Pushback mind games, some of them are great. But yeah, this is what constitutes a good character, in my opinion. Tekken, at the end of the day, is a very mind game heavy game. at the end of the day. But yeah, YouTube, big thank you for watching. Hopefully this was helpful. This was a very complicated video for me to actually record because I had to talk about a lot of stuff, but also don't talk about too much. So yeah, thanks for watching once again, and until the next one. Bye bye.